guys at Beats. That was a nice commercial with Kaepernick.
Although it didn't look like he was wearing Beats headphones post-game today. Did anyone else see that?
Yeah, I saw that. And he, taped off the logo because it looked like he was wearing a different brand of headphones. I caught that.
Yeah, that was strange.
Well, maybe he'll get used to it. Peyton's an expert with this stuff, Although I'm almost 100% sure that he does not drive a Buick. And if he does, that is some A+ dedication to the product that you promote. Now, if we look at what I've been saying about momentum and about experience, signs would point to San Francisco. I am not hopping off of the Seattle bandwagon after picking them in August. They've made it this far. I don't have any reason not to pick against them. Look, San Francisco is going to make this a very entertaining game. This one's going to be one for the ages. And I think that Kaepernick is going to have the advantage over Wilson. However, the secondary of the Seattle Seahawks is just too imposing, and the front seven is too good. I don't think the Niners are going to be able to get enough done on offense to get the big plays that they need. Vernon Davis and Anquan Boldin are both going to need a breakout. On defense, they are a very fundamentally sound team. Both are. But the Seahawks in Seattle, in the playoffs, the way they've played this year, I'm not ready to pick against them, and so I'm not going to. Close game, a little more low scoring than we'd expect, but I'm going to take Seattle in this one. So, because we do got to go quickly, one word. Just say which team you are picking to win it all. Noah.
I'm going with Seattle.
Joe.
Seattle.
And myself, if you've been listening from the very beginning, you'll know my pick. Seattle Seahawks win it all. Although, by the way, a fun fact, when Cam Newton lost that game today against San Francisco, everything relates back to Tim Tebow, and that's proven again here. Tim Tebow remains the only Heisman-winning quarterback to win a playoff game. So, good for Tim. And good for him opening up as a college football analyst, which is a fantastic segue, because as we say, everything leads back to Tebow. College football was a great finish to the year. Bowl games I didn't really see coming with the results. I believe I went 19-16. I was on tearing it up until those final games. Florida State able to come away with the win. Tim Tebow had perhaps the best night of all, though. He predicted before the game that the final score would be 35-31 Florida State. It was 34-31 Florida State on his first day in the job. So, congrats, Jimmy. What did we think overall of that national championship game? Noah, I'll start with you.
Great game. Really exciting. I think it's one of the top games I've seen in a while. I think you've got to look back to Alabama-Texas, where Texas had that massive rally with Garrett Gilbert at quarterback. Also the USC-Texas game, but it was quite the game. And it cemented Jameis Winston's season as being one of the best seasons we've ever seen. He's just so talented. And throughout that game, he didn't look like the Heisman quarterback we got used to seeing. But then in the very end, when it all mattered, he did what every great quarterback does. He led them to a win. And I was just very impressed. Auburn looked like they were going to put away multiple times. Props to that Florida State team for keeping themselves in the game and eventually putting themselves in the position to win. Great game, and I look forward to seeing Florida State next year.
Yep. Even Destiny's Child broke up at some point, but that might just mean that the lead of that group might be going on to do bigger and better things. Trey Mason, perhaps. There was a lot of potential in that game. Again, Florida State, it was not the defense, however, that won the game. It was the offense, and I wasn't so sure it would go down that way. Joe, you were there for it, so I'm sure you'll be able to give some great insight on it. The atmosphere looked like it was great. There was a lot of sentiment there. I think this was the best national championship game since USC Texas, and I don't think anything is going to top that. Joe, what did you think about this game?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank the Rose Bowl for just giving me two of the greatest games ever. I was there for both of them, and I was there in 2010 when Texas should have beat Alabama. They would have beat them if Colt McCoy didn't go down. But at that game, you could tell from the very beginning, Auburn was there to play. During the pregame warm-ups, Florida State huddled up. They did their whole thing, and then every single player just walked really nonchalantly into the locker room. Auburn does their pregame thing, breaks. Every one of them sprinting. They're hyped. They're going insane. They run into the locker room. And I turned to the guy that I went to the game with, and we both said Auburn's in this game from the beginning. And on that first drive that Auburn had, I think it was a third down, and they went deep. The guy was wide open. They couldn't connect. The game was never really the same from that point on. Auburn was ahead the whole game, but you could feel just in the stands, everybody kept thinking back to that play. If we'd only gotten out, this game is ours. And if they had gotten that game's over from the very beginning. But hats off to Jameis Winston. He came back, he came to play. What a game.
Great game. And the post-game speech from Jameis Winston. I heard a lot of Ray Lewis comparisons. Here's what I thought when it came to Winston. I wasn't sure what he was saying, but I believed it with him. He was so happy and exciting. Even if you did, whether or not you knew what he was saying, you couldn't help but feel happy for the guy. And back to the whole trial thing. I still think that there could have been more of an investigation, and if they wanted to convict him, they absolutely could have. But beside the point, Jameis Winston, undefeated, Heisman winner, national championship winner, and that caps off the great season for Florida State. And in the end, it turns out that defense does win championship games, and that's why I don't think Auburn came away with the victory here. Winston marched all over him in that final one. So a grand finale, if you will, for the BCS. But with that, we say good riddance. And the playoff enters the picture. There have already been some changes, especially in the coaching world. Of course, you have to talk about what's going on in Texas. And there is no better person that I know than to Joe Levin when it comes to Texas. I'm going to make you the Texas correspondent from now on. You okay with that?
Sounds good.
All right. What do you think about the hiring of Charlie Strong?
I have tried to see the light, see why this is a good hire, and I cannot do it. First of all, I don't like calling us the Stronghorns. It's stupid. But besides that, think about who Texas could have gotten. If we had called up John Gruden, offered him $8 million a year, 5% of the Longhorn Network, there's no way he says no. Texas has had 4 straight straight up bad years. Playing bad football. We're not fun to watch. Case McCoy, who, don't even get me started with him, playing at quarterback. And we still make $20 million more than the next college football program. And our old athletic director, DeLoss Dodds, once said, famously, we are the Joneses. Like, we don't have to keep up with the Joneses. We are the Joneses. And one of the big boosters for Texas, Red McCombs, I think he once owned the Vikings and the San Antonio Spurs. He said, like, all the money that's not at the Vatican is in Austin at the University of Texas. And it's time we start acting like that. We have always, like what we're paying Charlie Strong $5 million. Just go out and, even though he's a jerk, just go out and offer Jim Harbaugh $8 million a year, $10 million a year, however much it takes, make him say no. I don't know what's wrong with that, and I don't know why they don't do it. Charlie Strong, I don't know what he's ever done that has said, look at me, I deserve to be the coach of the biggest college football program in the country. He's been a head coach for 4 seasons. 2 of those, he was 7-5, 8-4, I believe. I'll have to look that up to be sure. And then he's got Teddy Bridgewater, He was the best quarterback in the country, arguably. And he started to win games in the worst conference in the country. So good for him, but he's no better than Chris Peterson from Boise State. He hasn't done anything more than him, and we would never even think about going there. I am disgusted.
Okay. I agree with you that there are definitely people that they could have gone. First of all, I love the Longhorns. They are my second favorite team behind Ohio State and the number one school I want to go to. So, of course, I want to see them have a good program. I like to see the school I want to go to have a winning program. And I will agree with you that they definitely could have gotten better people. They sold themselves short. But don't disrespect Charlie Strong. This is a guy who, and I understand they have Teddy Bridgewater, but their team isn't necessarily amazing. They defeated Miami in the Russell Athletic Bowl. He led them to a Sugar Bowl over his former team, the Gators. He led them over the Gators. This is a team from the SEC, 33-23. The biggest upset victory in terms of point spread in any BCS Bowl game since the BCS began. This guy is a phenomenal coach. He was the assistant coach at Florida. He was also a defensive coordinator at South Carolina. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's done a great job. Tony Dungy, he said that Strong, when you see what he can do, you're probably going to have a lot of people disappointed that they didn't hire him soon. He is a great coach. I agree with you that there were better people. Gruden would have been better. Harbaugh would have been better. Frankly, there are a lot of people that would have been better. But don't disrespect Charlie Strong.
They are the New York Yankees of college football with less championships. In my mind, they could have dug into their pockets. If they really wanted Gruden, they could have gone out. I don't know where you place the blame here. It might be on the A.D. Patterson. It doesn't make sense when you're a program like Texas, when you have the prestige that Texas does, that you can't go out and even just try. Just throw money at him. So what if he says no? That's not going to hurt your reputation. Go out and find somebody else. But don't hunker down. By the way, I would have liked the hiring of Franklin from Vanderbilt a lot more. And Penn State got him today, which I'm very happy with for Penn State. Their coaches there seem to be doing well, especially after that whole scandal. And now a little bit of a non sequitur here, but when you get a breaking news update on your phone, it'd be nice to be the first one to break it to you. Tony Bosch, remember him, Mr. Biogenesis, said in 60 Minutes interview that Alex Rodriguez paid him $12,000 a month for banned drugs. Things are not looking good for A-Rod. But you know what? It is not baseball season. There is too much other good stuff to talk about. And one of those good things is that Alabama might be in trouble. And it's from somebody on the inside. That's right. Somebody thought it was a good idea to bring in Lane Kiffin. And the rest of the country cheered. I mean, this is the biggest defeat for Alabama since missing that field goal. This is a bigger defeat than losing to Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. God, seriously, as a UCLA fan, it was wonderful when we got to play against Lane Kiffin. It really shows how much coaching has an effect in college football. It used to be Pete Carroll versus Carl Durrell, or Pete Carroll versus Rick Neuheisel, whose name I can barely even utter. That's how bad of a coach he was. And then the landscape flipped, and we got Mora, and they faced off against Kiffin, and we won football games. I don't know if this is going to work out well for Alabama. No, what do you think?
Well, first of all, if Saban has something to do with this, then never doubt Nick Saban. They lost this year, but don't doubt Nick Saban. Second of all, I expect Alabama to be back next year. Their recruiting class, though a lot of them will redshirt, is great. They have the number one offensive tackle. They have the number two defensive end, though they did get beaten out for the number one by Texas A&M. They have one of the top cornerbacks in the nation. They have so many top 300 picks. They're just such a talented team. I expect them to be back next year. No problem. I think they will be a competitor once again. Frankly, I think they'll be better than Auburn next year. I think this team is very talented. I think this team has what it takes to make it to the playoffs again. Though I do agree with you, seeing Lane Kiffin get hired